G'day everyone, Prep Aussie here. I hope you're all well in whatever part of the world you're watching this video. Today is Sunday, the 6th of January 2019, and the time here is 12 on the dot, Australian Eastern Standard Time. Folks, first of all, let me say thank you to everybody for your best wishes, your well wishes and prayers. They are very much appreciated by me and indeed my whole family. As you can see, I'm still using the, I don't have a computer, so this is the only way for me to actually communicate with you guys. And one of the things that gave me heartfelt relief as well was all the Aussies saying, please don't stop posting because you're the only person giving us the news in Australia. Well, I'm humbled but appalled as well because, you know, really, it's that bad here that we can't get the news from proper sources. Those sources, as you all know, do not exist anymore. It's a fallacy. The mainstream media is now just a complete fabrication, as you all know. Look, the reason I'm posting on a Sunday is because this is so important. If you go onto the if you're in Australia, you need to go on the ABC website. This is actually a pretty big announcement from me today. Things have escalated militarily in China quite significantly in the last 3 months, to the point where, as I said before, there is now, regardless of what all this other bullshit people are saying and everything else, where we here in Australia need to arm yourselves because of what's coming. China yesterday released a statement advising the world that either Taiwan comes to heel to the Chinese and becomes part of China, or they will militarily take it over. This was yesterday, and I bet you didn't even know it. At the same time that they did that, the US signed an agreement or a pact with Taiwan stating that if Taiwan is attacked, then that will be an act of war against the US. So the US has militarily backed Taiwan. Now, you don't have to be Einstein to work out that this is one great big bloody mess. Okay, so what does that leave us here? Well, obviously the Australian government, sadly, is not going to do fire truck all about any of this because they can't wait to bend over to China at any given moment at the moment, if you know what I mean. We here in Australia need to protect ourselves as Australians. And what do I mean by that? Well, today I'm calling for all Australians to join an Australian militia. And don't look, before anyone writes to me and says, oh, that's racist, etc., I'm not calling for you guys to go out and bash people. I'm not calling for anyone to get hurt here. What I'm actually saying is I'm calling for all my fellow Australians to start an Australian militia, because when China does kick off somewhere in the South China Sea or in Taiwan, their number one aim will be Australia. And our fools in the Australian government think that Australia is protected by America, etc. Well, yeah, that might be the case, but one, it's going to take a shit while to get here, and two, our Australian military combined, Navy, Air Force, etc., doesn't even make up even half of one battalion in the Chinese army. Think about that. So our Australian government is not going to arm us to protect ourselves and our country. So what I'm calling on you guys to do now is arm yourselves and we need to form an Australian militia. Not to take over the government or anything, but to actually protect our country from foreign invaders who are going to come here, folks, in the very near future. China has now crossed the line in the sand by saying they're going to take Taiwan. And they are going to do it. And before I get anybody writing to me and saying, oh, you know, you're racist, etc., my wife is half Chinese, my children are half Chinese as well. So I'm saying this to warn you. Go on the article in the ABC and type in China amps up military over South China Sea tensions, Taiwan and US trade. It's tucked away. In that article, there is also another article about China, and this is ironic, folks, because my 16-year-old son sent me this. China now has an electromagnetic gun. I can't remember the definition of the name. It's hypersonic, and they're floating. They've got it on this boat floating around the South China Sea. What do you think is going to happen to that boat, folks? The US are going to blow it out of the water, regardless. Might lose a plane or two, but they're going to blow that thing straight out of the water. Now, look, we need to form militia, folks, because this is actually going to happen in our lifetime. China is going to come here and invade our country. Don't be stupid enough to think that it's not going to happen, because it is. They are going to attack Taiwan, and at the same time, they're going to attack the countries in the South China Sea. And, you know, have that whole perimeter as their own, or try and make it their own. Now remember, I said this before, the day China lands long-range bombers on the South China Sea, we are going to be invaded here in Australia. They're going to go for Pine Gap, which is run by the US military. This is not hypothesis on my part, folks. This is all going to happen. So, once again, I'm saying to you, we need to form an Australian militia. It sounds absolutely outrageous to say that, but that's what we need to do. And I'm happy to start forming it today, tomorrow. Okay? Once again, I repeat, it's a call to a militia to arm ourselves against foreign invaders. It's not to take over the Australian government. What would we want to anyway? They're a bunch of fools. Let them sit in their shit and, you know, wallow in it. I don't want anything to bloody do with the fools myself, but there you go. Because they're foolish enough to think that to just keep feeding people the bile in the mainstream media that everything's going to be okay. Whereas you and I both know that the shit is hitting the fan. As I said, read the article. China amps up military over South China Sea, Taiwan. And read the article. And it's also got in the article at the bottom about the hypersonic military gun they've got, an electromagnetic gun. My email, prepaussie@protonmail.com. Do not send anything to my Gmail account, okay? Because it doesn't exist. It's only live because that's the only way I can use YouTube. Okay, I'll be interested to hear what you Aussies have to say as regards to forming a militia. But guys, you need to go and get armed. You need to get, as I said, bows, arrows, whatever you need to get. If you can have guns, get guns. And we need to start doing this now, because this is actually going to happen. There's no way out of it. Unless you guys can tell me there's a way out of it, but I don't see it. Because don't forget, there's a big Russian bear sitting up there that's teetering on the edge, with flip-flopping as to whether it's going to go with the US or China. If it goes with China, all bets are off the table. If it sits back, all bets are still off the table. But something big is going to happen in the next couple of weeks as regards to China, one way or another. Remember, they've already told them that the South China Sea islands will not wash. That was the words of John Bolton and Donald Trump. They've told them that they will not let them keep them there. So, I'm not going to do the prayers because of the fact that, you know, this is all pretty serious, and I need to keep this short. So, right, let's see if we can get this militia up and running, folks. All right, God bless, prep out.